In the previous video, we used pandas to compute the median valence for all these different chords. But let's see a way to get some of that same information using Altair. So let's import Altair as ALT. And then I'm going to visualize the valence for each chord using bars, so 1 bar for each chord. So I'm going to use a bar chart. I'm going to say alt.chart. The data comes from df. And then I want it to be a bar chart, so I say .markBar, .encode. And so I want 1 bar, 1 vertical bar for each chord. So let's say x equals chord. And first thing I would try is let's try y equals valence. And let's see how this looks. And it took me a while to decide what this was saying. And I think what's happening here is that, like, for each different valence that shows up in the like for the chord of A, it's getting plotted here, just one right on top of each other. And so, like, what we're seeing here, like what ends up coming through is just like the maximum height among all of those valences. So for example, let's add a tooltip. So let's say tooltip equals valence. And so here I get 0.979 as I move my mouse towards the top. And then down here I get 0.94. So it's a little confusing, but I think the 0.979 is actually the maximum. So, like, let's check that. So say I want the chord to be the A chord. Okay, there's my Boolean series. And then let's wrap it inside of df. So this is getting just the rows that correspond to songs with a chord of A. And let's get the valence from this. And then instead of computing the median, let's compute the maximum. Okay, and there's exactly that 0.979 that we saw before. Okay, exactly this 0.979. So this isn't what we want. So how can I get something more representative here? And there's a nice shorthand for doing this in Altair. I can just wrap this inside lowercase median. And let's also change the tooltip to lowercase median. And so, for example, we computed this F sharp G flat before, and that gave me 0.609. And here again, we're getting this 0.609. So it's nice because, like, in this visual way, I can just very quickly see that the chord that produces the highest median valence is this F sharp G flat chord. And if I want, I could, like, add some color to this. For example, like, maybe this is just really an outlier, and maybe there are only a couple songs in the whole data set that are in the key of F sharp. So let's add a color to this that comes from count. So this is going to be saying how many of these are in this same chord. And let's also add that count to the tooltip. Oh, and what have I done wrong here? What I did wrong is I didn't put a comma after this color equals portion. Okay, and so here we can see that this isn't any particular outlier. There are 121 songs in the data set that correspond to this key of F sharp, or this chord of F sharp. Maybe the closest we have to an outlier in terms of the low direction is this D sharp E flat, but even that one there are 40 songs for, so it's not an extreme outlier. So anyway, the main point of this video was to show how we could get some of this same information from the previous video, how we could get some of that same information using Altair.